microphones.
So
don't
this
say anything
little
bad.
dog, it's 8 pounds. I was holding it with one arm because I'm stupid, and my arm's like Laura. I was holding it for like an hour.
Grace, where do you work?
I work at Rockford Veteranary Hospital.
Nice. She's traveling. And that ACT thing.
Did you do your orientation?
No, it's actually 2 days before I start class.
Okay. Do you
No,
class in
a week and 2 days. No, they oh yeah, they tell me in
What's
August.
the best you can do on your
All of a
ACT?
sudden they tell me what classes. Just my first quarter, and then
You got 34.
Hey, JD.
Yeah, quarter system.
You got 35.
yeah, quarter system.
That's what Suresh got.
Thanks. The same
I'd
grade.
say we rock and roll.
Okay. Yeah, we're awesome. So we're gonna start. Roll call. JD. Hassan.
She's in China, right?
Oh. Grace. Alex. Morgan. Aston. She's in Austin. Soha.
Here.
Audrey.
Here.
Jasmine.
Here.
Michael.
Here.
Tia.
She's coming at 7.
Ari.
Some effects necessary.
Oh,
Always.
See you tonight.
Okay.
Jordan.
Here.
Tyler. Connor. Jack.
Here.
Laura.
She also might be coming at 7. If
Okay.
Tia can fit.
Jayon.
She's done.
Okay. Trini. Trisha. Zoe is gone. And Sarah. Awesome.
Do you have a pen, Kevin?
Yes. The first item on the agenda tonight is some friends from Superior Elementary, back here in the back, Renee and Tiffany, and they're gonna give you guys a cool little opportunity that maybe we can do some partnership stuff with. So I want you guys to just really listen in, and then we can have some discussion around it. You can ask any questions you have after they get a chance to talk to you for a little bit.
Well, thank you for,
Yeah.
thank you for letting us come. My name's Renee. I'm the Superior Elementary PTA president, and Tiffany.
I'm the vice president.
Right. And so I believe our fundraising chair, Stephanie Shy, saw your work in action at some sort of
Parents' Night Out.
Parents' Night Out, and thought you guys would be fantastic. So we have our monthly business meetings from September to April, and we are having a problem with parents not being able to attend because they have small kids. These are all parents at the school. So we're looking to see if we would, maybe anyone be interested in a partnership of coming to our meeting and taking children like into the cafeteria playing games. We have parents maybe donate $5 to bring in pizza for everyone and things like that. Our meetings are once a month. Currently right now they're every Tuesday. We may alternate them, but they're generally at 6:30 till roughly 8 o'clock at the latest is where we're at. We probably would need maybe 1 to 2 people right now because we think until people get comfortable going, we'll probably have maybe 4 kids to 7 at a time. Mostly the board's children, our kids.
Lots of siblings.
Yeah, lots of siblings and different things like that. And so it's, you know, it's right here, it's right in town, it's easy access. I don't know if anyone of you went to Superior.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, in the cafeteria. And we would appreciate your help, and we're happy to showcase what you guys are doing in our meetings, you know, in our community, and kind of let families know that this is a resource or available, and think about it for their children as they grow up, you know, and kind of figure out if we can start a partnership. Yeah, and that's it. And so our first meeting wouldn't be until most likely the second week in September on a Tuesday, and we just have to work with the principal in the next month and our board, and we'll have our whole meeting planned. We'll have the dates planned out for the entire school year in the next month or so.
What kind of questions do you guys have around that?
Is it always the second week in like each month, or would it be?
Traditionally, it really has,
Okay.
but we are kind of trying to shake it up a little bit to see, because a lot of people have standing meetings or different things that come. So we're going to talk about if we want to keep it the same as we always had, the second Tuesday of every month, or do we want to move it to a Wednesday alternate it and kind of go in there to kind of help increase attendance, and that's competing with everyone's schedules.
You guys have a lot better attendance than we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I know that Monarch Spanish Honor Society does a similar program with Fireside. It's called Puentes, for the teachers and students, like being taken care of during the meetings for the parents and everything like that. And I know it's super successful, and I know that the people love volunteering at it, like all of the Monarch students. So I feel like it'd be like this, but easier because it's most likely one language.
Yeah. There's most likely going to be access to the balls and different things. It'll be kind of easy to set up. Actually, you bring up a really good point. That's a thought of, if this is work and there's interest, there's also conferences. We have parent-teacher conferences in October and in February that parents have asked if they could have someone come, different times that week. And then what we have been working with Monarch and Fairview, we have our Fall Fling, which is our festival. Do you guys remember this? And so because our school has changed in size, we don't always have enough parents to run booths. So that's what we've been having. If this is way off topic, but these are all the areas that we could use. Come in and run booths, do face painting, things like that, and help manage that as well. So there's a thing that we do have a date for. That is September 21st. And I'm happy to work with Stephanie, give you our contact, and we can send out a sign-up sheet for that, and people can just tell me if they want to come when they're available, and then we work that one out. That's kind of an easy standard one.
So this, guys, just so you got a little frame of reference, and so you guys do too.
Yeah.
Our council runs from August to August, kind of
Okay.
late. So we'll have a whole new turnover.
You'll have a turnover.
Here in the summer.
Okay.
And so for the new council, this would be probably something we would add to our work plan, that there would be a monthly service opportunity in conjunction with Superior Elementary, the PTA. And so that's what you guys would have to discuss and vote on and agree on and see what kind of, participation you guys would want to give to that. So that's kind of what we're trying to decide here tonight.
And so when you guys meet and you discuss, if you have ideas that you say, hey, this might work better, we're open. We're trying a new program, and we would love your feedback as well. You're like, this is what we did at another school, or please let us know, and we'll try to work with everyone. So, and you have Stephanie's contact, and we'll make sure you have ours, and let us know. And if you have any questions,
Fantastic. Yeah.
thank you for this time.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming in.
And I saw some of you at Trails Day. Thank you.
Yeah.
She said she was really impressed.
Yeah, it was great.
Here's my card.
Thank
put all
you.
my info on there.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
we can keep in touch, and we'll discuss and get back to you guys.
Perfect.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you for coming.
Have a great meeting.
Did you hear me say that?
Right outside the door.
That was good. He was like,
What? Patrick Hammer's outside the door. You can tell me if she can come in.
George.
We'll let Patrick do
Come
his
back to the
presentation, and
office.
then we'll come back to this and discuss this, okay? Maybe he wasn't there.
He went back into his office.
Oh, you did? Okay, hey, so let's go ahead and take time to
All right,
discuss it.
Jordan called him.
Oh, he's coming. Hey, hey.
Hey,
The computer's ready for you too if you
awesome.
need it. Do you guys remember the Honorable Patrick Hammer?
I don't know about that.
It's just PowerPoint. You can just see out of it.
Let's see. Am I out of the way? Everybody see? Well, thank you guys for letting me come and crash your meeting. My 7-year-old had a baseball game, so I was like, I'm back and forth between. But what I wanted to do. If we really wanted to, we could turn this on and watch you guys' meeting in action. Would you guys maybe do that?
Yeah.
And then
Live, people can watch it.
We'll watch it. Wait, we'll.
Oh, no.
What's this?
We'll see.
I don't really want.
Just a little bit
Oh.
uncomfortable.
You know what? It might not actually come on until after the meeting is posted.
Okay.
But so it sounds like you guys already know. But anytime we have a board meeting, we're required to like do these informational packets, which I think you guys have seen. Your notes are always in these packets, but as soon as we get them done and they're approved, we put them up on the town website. So I'm just going to scroll down and kind of give you guys the lowdown on where we are with the community center. And we'll kind of get to the good stuff. So where we are in the process. How's that? Better? All right. So I think as you guys know, we're going to consider building a community center attached to the sports stable. And one of the things that we're going to be doing is asking the voters in Superior to impose a tax increase to pay for it. And we're looking at doing a couple of different things. One, being adding a sales tax on top of our existing sales tax, and then increasing property taxes, right? And to do those, we have to go through this kind of arduous process of throwing out enough information and enough design and enough conversation to see how people actually feel about it, because increasing, self-imposing to increase your own taxes is sometimes controversial, sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And it's been quite a while since we've talked about something like a sales tax or a property tax increase. So normally a process like this takes a little bit more than a year and a half, and we're going to get it done hopefully in about 4 or 5 months. So it's a really, really quick timeline. But what I wanted to show you guys tonight is an update of where we are with the design, and then talk a little bit about what, if I recall, was your guys' feedback, and answer any questions about what you guys are seeing on the current design. And then I'll follow up with a little bit of how you guys can be involved next, and just kind of answer questions. So I don't know if you guys have been kind of aware of this conversation, but one of the issues we have over at the sports stable is parking, right? Town center, it's not built out, but it's kind of hard to visualize getting a bunch more built over there and not having places to park. So if you guys picture, this is the existing gym over at Impact, okay? So this is the open square that we're talking about, which we've decided to drop this really cool swimming pool in. But to get the really cool swimming pool in, we have to get rid of that drop-off circle, which is kind of problematic because I don't know, has anybody spent a decent amount of time over there, right? Especially with hockey, like that drop-off circle is nonstop. Kevin and I get to see it all the time because we work there. I mean, it's packed. You see these little kids getting out of their car with a hockey bag that's twice as big as they are, or a baseball bag that's twice as big as they are. And for safety reasons, you want to get them right next to the building. We don't want these little girls walking around in between cars pulling these big bags. So one of the very first things that we had to look at if we get rid of the drop-off circle, so picture the drop-off circle right here, is we need to be able to accommodate that somewhere else. And so we're looking at some different road configurations. But believe it or not, something as complex or simple as you would think parking is complex enough that it could really kind of sway this decision one way or another, because you really can't build additional amenities and not have the required parking. It's just we've got codes and standards to set that. So this is probably a boring page for you guys, but what we're trying to figure out, and it's a huge decision, which is why we've got this kind of at the very beginning, is there a way that we can create this S-curve to drop people off? So little Timmy's going to come in and play hockey. Mom wants to get him close to the front door. In this case, the door will be over here. We also have the door over there. So this is safe configuration, and we're trying to play around with that. And the board's going to have to kind of decide, because this is a pretty big impact. So my guess is that we'll have lots. No pun intended. We'll have some conversations around that. But right now, this is the best solution. One of the things that we talked about internally is, well, if you drop your kid off over here, and he or she's super excited to get over here, you drop a kid off over here, mom or dad are excited to get over here to park, you could still maybe have people crossing the street, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. So, not an overly exciting page, but a really, really important page.
I would say with that one, like, just throwing it out there, you guys have probably already talked about it, but I would say the one like closest to the building should be like a hug and go lane, like they have at elementary schools,
Totally.
where it's just like,
It's super
that.
controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because something, and I think Kevin could probably attest to this too. People will sometimes like want to walk their kid all the way in, which is awesome. Like I'm totally all for that. You want to make sure that they get to but what that means is you leave a car unattended for like 5-6 minutes, and then they're stuck talking to another mom or dad in there, or coach, and then that's like 10 minutes. And we've actually seen it where 3 cars get packed in there and no more cars get in, and then it just like builds. And then you get this weird traffic congestion at the stop sign. So that's actually something we've talked a lot about. And when it's busy, do we need to enforce it? You know, like literally have it. Somebody's like, all right, we gotta keep going. So that's a great point. All right, so moving on to the cool stuff, or cooler stuff. I think you guys have probably seen some form or fashion of the aquatics center. So again, existing. If you kind of see this, see how there's kind of a darker. So this is the big open field. We had to make some changes based off the last design, where we had everything packed into this space. We had the men's locker room and the women's locker room, and all this really squished in. But the board was interested in seeing an 8-lap lane pool. Any swimmers? Do we have any swimmers in the room? Nobody was on the flyers when they were a kid?
I used to.
Right? So meets are a big deal, right? If you guys have driven by the North Pool, we have meets, there's cars everywhere. So there was a push to make sure that we can get something in there big enough. Plus this really cool lazy river, and I've got some sweet pictures at the end that I'll show you. But what that required us to do is to actually take existing space within the building, which is all part of this partnership. So for those of you that have been in Impact, this is the CrossFit room. And we would actually propose turning that CrossFit room into the women's locker room. And then this is right next to the turf field, and it's actually a locker room now. It's just not finished quite up to a complete standard. And then what we had to do is we had to work to make sure that we had storage and offices. You had certain requirements for lifeguards, because this would require like full-time lifeguards.
I was just thinking, for like the Flyers meets, would there be an area for like the parents to stand or like do that from that?
It's interesting. We've tried. I think as staff, we have always said, we don't know that the square footage is there to hold a big meet. Because the deck space is really pretty limited. So by us pushing all of this stuff over, we were able to do like 3 rows of bleacher seating here. So my gut's telling me that I don't know that this would ever be a place for like a big competitive multi-team meet, but I do think we'd probably be able to do like a duel where it's us versus Louisville, or us versus Lafayette, or us versus Boulder. What worries me a little bit is, and we'll see, we actually have like a rendering. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, guys. This is pretty close to accurate in terms of scale. And if you imagine having, I don't know, 20 swimmers from each team, there's 40, plus parents, plus you've got this lazy river area. You've got some tight pinch points there, and you don't have a lot of deck space. So I think in terms of meets, I'm not sold on it, but in terms of being able to practice, where somebody gets dropped off and maybe the parent goes somewhere else or sits in the coffee shop, I think it's probably doable. I think for things like swim lessons or like one-on-one training, it's probably kind of a good setup. But it's tight. It's really, really tight. And then something that we're always thinking about is, you know, where do lifeguards stand? And you know, one of the main concerns that we're talking about is, believe it or not, if you're a lifeguard over here and the sun is over here, light reflects off the water, which creates blind spots in the pool. So we're already at that level of detail where we're saying, wow, lifeguard so-and-so's gonna have to stand in this corner. You know, we want the pool to be oriented this way. We want to add, you know, things like these artificial trees, and we want these interior shade structures, which look like cool aesthetics, but in reality, they're also helping from an operating standpoint. So another cool couple features here is these would be roll-up garage doors onto Main Street. There'd be outdoor patio area, lazy river with, you know, a little bit of play feature. I think I've got one more. So, kind of a cool design for not a very big space. Any questions or thoughts on the pool before we head to second level?
If you were like going to do a meet, you would have to close the lazy river
Yeah.
to do it. Yeah. That's my own.
Yeah, that's a good, you know, and we'll touch on that just briefly in a second. You're absolutely right. And anytime you did like swim lessons, you'd probably have to close a part of the pool.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of how can you close part of it, but keep some of it open for the public. What if the Flyers wanted to rent it? Would we close it to everybody? Would we say, hey, you can have 4 lanes, but not all the lanes? So those are all kind of programmatic decisions that we're trying to work on. Because once you ask the taxpayer to pay for it, the thought is that it's open and available the majority of the time. Who's been over to Louisville? Like Louisville, at some point in your life, right? For the most part, when you go there, you expect it to be open. You don't go over to Louisville and then pay to get in and the pool's closed. Like, that's not the experience anymore.
Are the Flyers not happy with their North Pool location?
I think they are, but I think what happens is, you know, we get kind of November, December, January, and they're wanting to take that program to the next level to be a year-round. And there's just not the facilities for it. And we know just from who we rent the North Pool to, that even the high school has a hard time finding water space. And we've got water polo teams that have no space, you know, and then we get, you know, we had somebody come ask us to do like stand-up paddleboard yoga. And we were like, man, we would love to do that, but who would we kick out of the pool? Would we kick out the Flyers? Would we stop swim lessons? So, yeah.
Would you consider turning the lazy river into just to like a public pool instead?
More of like a zero entry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yep, it's one of the, that's actually a suggestion that we've talked about is, we've also talked about maybe just doing spray features, like just doing the square. Right, just doing the square, but then maybe having like a slide that could be on or could be off. That when the Flyers or swim team's not in there, it's still a really cool community feature.
Kind of like at Louisville.
Yeah, yeah, and then the idea of maybe we have like sprays that are mounted on the deck that then would shoot it into the shallow end. We've also talked about maybe we pull this out a little bit more and it's a zero entry. And then this is kind of the shallow end. So yeah, absolutely, and then we buy all this deck space back. So yeah, absolutely, that's something we've talked about, and based upon what we hear Monday night from the board, maybe something that we look at seriously changing.
Have you guys also considered having set hours where the pool is a public pool, where it's, because it does, I think Louisville does that, where they like, most of the day they have it open, but in the morning they have it for like swim lessons, and then in the night they also have it for swim lessons.
Yeah, our goal would be that at least 60% of the usable hours in the pool would be open for general use, and that we would allow 40, maybe a little bit more than 40 to be either swim lessons or just private. Because part of the partnership with the sports stable is they want to use it too. we kind of thought it was cool this week, so I don't know if you guys know, but the sports stable has a college baseball team. All these guys get done playing college. If you don't go to college World Series, they come here and they'll play, you know. Well, they make those guys do yoga. They make those guys do other activities. They're doing all this training. And they would love for them to do wetland. You have dryland training, you have wet training. And they would love for them to be able to do wet training. And actually something else that we added in here is like a infinity therapy pool, you know, for that very reason. So, yeah.
Have you guys considered, like, in place of the lazy river, like doing a 1 meter diving board or like an indoor hot tub or something like that?
Hot tub, yes. Diving, we actually nixed off the board. And I'll tell you the reason why is we're already going to dig down, I think 12 feet, because we need a certain height between the deck and the ceiling. Because you guys have been to pools, you see those big vent systems for air quality. Generally, you want about 20 feet between your deck and your ceiling. And when we were looking at cost and starting to dig down, it like skyrockets the cost. So what we did is we said, in terms of bang for our buck, in which part of the community we use it the most, we felt like more community features were appropriate in drawing in younger or people who maybe weren't comfortable in deep water. And we nixed the diving well. One of the things we did look at on the 8-lane pool is you can actually construct a swimming pool now where the floor would move, right? So let's say we wanted it on a Saturday when it was just going to be open to the public, we wanted it to be 3 feet, because we start seeing a bunch of kids on the weekend, they're little, the deep end's not getting used. You can actually bring the floor up to like a 3-foot depth, and then a couple hours later at night, we needed to do a swim team. You can drop one of the ends, and it would turn into what the North Pool is now. And we're playing around with the cost of that. It's about an additional $200,000 to $300,000 on top of the pool. But when you're talking about $17 to $18 million anyway, it might be worth it. Because if we can gain another group that can use it, I mean, I think that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. Yeah, I would say the aquatics has probably had the most conversation. Yeah.
At Louisville, they always have 2 lanes open to the public, so I would recommend that because it works great since there's always the community coming in because they know there's always 2 lanes open.
And I would guess that we would have to do something.
Yeah.
The guys over at the sports stable have asked if they could rent it exclusively, which, I mean, they're willing to pay us a hefty price tag for it. So that's just something that as we keep going, we're going to have to wrestle with. But I agree. 2, if not 3, because we do know there's a lot of lax swimmers in town that want to swim at lunch, want to swim in the mornings, but they actually don't want to join the Masters swim team. So, all right, moving on to the second floor. Dun, dun, dun. So I'll be honest, the second floor is a bit of a compromise between what we've heard through town feedback and what the sports stable has in terms of a need. So I'll show you guys the second floor, but tell you I think that what we're likely to hear Monday night is that people are wanting the second floor to look a little different. There's a need from a sports stable standpoint to have basketball courts. I get that.
How many do they have now?
They have 2. So they have the one in Impact, and then they took a portion of the turf field and put a basketball court over it. And it's packed, I'm not going to lie. At night, it's full. And then during the day, they have pickleball over there. So they asked if we would take the second level and put basketball courts on it. And I agree to some standpoint because I know that what we heard is the community wants a dedicated basketball court to play drop-in. We know there's a huge need for volleyball. Volleyball does not get a fair cut of time right now. It sounds like anywhere. But to do 2 basketball courts in a community center of this size, I think is going to bring up just some conversation because you can only use it for a handful of things, right? It's not like a room like this where we can hold a meeting in it. It's not a rubber floor where you can hold a big special event on it and spill stuff on it. It can either be basketball, or it could be volleyball, or it could be some other court sport. So the ProStack committee, as well as the arts committee, said, well, we would prefer to keep the basketball court here, but then put all other fitness in this space here, and only have one. And then when we get to the third floor, where we had like the gym space, make all that community space, right?
So they would have, so what they were both saying is one basketball court, and then the other side would be all fitness equipment?
Yep, I'll show you really
Okay.
quick. So, this is the third floor now. So picture we came up another level, and we're showing all these community uses, but then back here, we're still showing additional like cardio equipment, weight room equipment. So there's a thought of, well, why not get rid of one of these, move this down below, and then build more community uses in this space. And I think that there's probably some conversation that will need to be had around that. And I think that that's probably going to be kind of at least a major talking point. If not Monday night, I know that when I meet with the ProStack committee, it will be a talking point with the ProStack committee.
Are they thinking of anything else that would go there instead of either fitness equipment or the basketball court?
You know, I don't know that we've thought, there's a lot of different ideas out there. We did a survey in 2014, and surprisingly, even in 2014, before this was built, before Louisville did their expansion, people said they wanted like quality gym space in the town of Superior that wasn't a private like club, like Lakeshore or Lifetime. And then what we've heard from Impact Sports and the sports stable is they're already kind of busting at the seams a little bit. So part of this partnership idea of us connecting to their building and building on their land is they would want some trade-offs as well. And one of the trade-offs they would want is some additional space for fitness. I think if it was just open, we could fill it with all kinds of different stuff, because I think there's a lot of different needs. And I think we could actually take, blow this up a little bit. You know, so big, huge community room in the front, but then kind of some smaller classrooms here. Digital library, I think that's the one thing we hear a lot about, is more like study space, more library space, more hangout space. I don't know that anybody's really keen on this idea of having like a senior, older adult room during the day, but then like a teen space at night. I think everybody's preference would be that they're separate uses. And I think if you don't have this here, right, those things start to come into play a whole lot easier.
Are you guys thinking of making a library like in the future?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because maybe you could put one at like there. You could put like one senior room and then a teen room, like something like that, and just leave that space open.
If you guys picture Main Street, right, which looks totally funny now because there's nothing on either side of it, and like it's kind of hard to envision, but there's a dirt parking lot in front of Impact Sports. Is everybody kind of familiar with that dirt parking lot? Well, believe it or not, that's our town square. And that town square is going to have like fountains in it, and it's going to have commercial buildings on either side. And you're going to be looking down into this plaza, and we're going to eventually move Chili Fest over there, and all these really cool things. Well, as part of that development, the town could, if we wanted to, have up to 40,000 square feet of community space. And that could be for a town hall, that could be for a library, that could be for whatever. It could be for this, it could be for an event space. So to that point, I do think at some point in the future, we'll have those additional uses. I think it's probably still 5 to 7 years away, which is you know, that's a long time. It starts to get hard to think about. I mean, think where you guys will be in 5 to 7 years. You know, you guys will be done with college and like not even living here. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Stay around, all right?
Yeah. You'll be searching for Kevin's job. Kevin's job. So basketball, I don't know, what's the general thought on 2 basketball courts on the same floor? Love it, hate it, interesting?
I like it.
You like it?
Well, because it's just like awkward to have like, I don't know, one part of like impact sports downstairs and then one upstairs. So if like you schedule something with like a trainer, you would be like, what floor is it? Because you wouldn't know. And so
I feel like it's more awkward to have like the weight room next to like the community room. I feel like it makes more sense to be like next to the basketball.
It is. It's an interesting kind of. I think that I could probably argue both sides of it, which is why we're just going to show it this way, because we also want to be really respectful of the fact that the sports stable is physically letting us like attach to their building, which is this whole other crazy project that we're trying to figure out. I mean, because we're literally going to go and just like knock down walls and like attach to their building, make it look like one. It's really kind of an interesting thing to wrap your head around. So yeah.
What is that?
So, sorry, this is the existing basketball court.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know why, for design purposes, we didn't just like put these lines over here and maybe Graham and all. But this is the existing, this is like the existing upstairs fitness. So something else to think about too, if you've been on that second floor of Impact to work out, or you've seen it, there's like the PT rooms up there, there's like therapy. We're getting rid of that. And we've got to figure out where to put those people. So that's another, you know, as much as this is an amazing idea and amazing benefit for the town, it is, you know, no pun intended, it's a big impact for Impact. It's a big impact for those guys because we're literally taking their workspace and turning it into something else and asking them to, you know, hop on board and come back like a year later and work with us.
How much will it cost for residents to get into this place?
Right now, we're thinking for an individual per month, probably anywhere between $49 and like $59. And then for a family, I want to say family, we were like 120, 130. So that's, you know, that's something else that we have to educate the public on, right? Because not only are we going to potentially say, hey, would you increase your taxes to help us pay for the construction, we're also still going to ask you to pay a membership fee to get in. And that's what we would pay for the operating cost. So it's a little bit crazy to think about, but just these 3 floors, right? The pool, the second floor, and the third floor, it's probably going to cost us around $800,000 a year to operate. And we'll probably, and just Kevin and I's little Parks and Rec team, we'll probably have to hire 4 more people, 12 more guards. You know, you have to pay for all that electricity, you have to pay for heat, you have to pay for water, you have to pay for insurance. And that's why we would do something like charge fees, is because you would use maybe the taxes to build it. We're thinking this is probably about between $17 and $19 million to build. And then, like I said, maybe about $800,000 annually to operate. So, third floor, bit of a hodgepodge, but I actually think it's appropriate for the space with the understanding that we're going to have a community center in the future. So big kind of community room that could be used for whatever. I mean, we're talking conferences, potential weddings, special events. We do like the idea of digital libraries, classroom space.
This is just a weird detail, but I would really shy away from like fluorescent lights in the community room because like I feel like a lot of our community spaces have them, like the one that we used a couple times over at the sports stable, and it feels like you're on a dissection table. So like I wouldn't want to host an event there if it was all like that.
So you want to know something that's funny? Our board, actually at the last board meeting, said we can no longer host community meetings over at the sports stable in that room. It's just, it's not conducive to, you're right. You know, and even this room sometimes, trust me, when we're in here, it felt like, I mean, we've been in here in meetings that literally go into the next day. Like, so we'll get out after midnight, and these lights start like tripping down a little bit.
Well, like at least this room has windows. Like the community room, it's nothing.
Fluorescent
You're
lights.
right. So, all right, this will be the big. This will be the big reveal, and then I'll flip back through these.
Okay.
But to that point, all right. now we're gonna shrink stuff down. And this is where we're asking people to really kind of use your imagination. And if they're fluorescent, we'll take them out. It's like first on my list right now is we're going incandescent, not fluorescent.
Are those the community rooms?
This would be the community room, and our thought was is to do the same roll-up garage door feel that you have on the ground level, because this is Main Street, right? You're coming down Main Street, and we want people to feel engaged. That's the message that we want people to feel when they visit town. We want people to say, man, this is where it's at. Like I want to live here, or I'm proud to live here already. I want to invest my money here. We want to shop here. We want to be active. And we really like this idea of coming down Main Street at night and having like all this activity at the end and bright lights on the inside with natural wood colors, natural stone colors. And it'll actually probably sound a little bit funny to you guys, but I can't tell you how many people call us and they're like, hey, we're so-and-so company in Boulder, and we want to rent out a space for like all of our employees, like 400 employees, and we would love to do it in Superior because we want to like visit one of your parks too. Like, oh man, sorry, like why don't you just take your couple $1,000s somewhere else? And it's painful, right? It's painful for us to say that because we want, I mean, I remember a couple years back, Props was like, hey, do you have room for 2,000 of us? And we need like a catering kitchen. We want to do a whole conference and fly people in. Like, sorry, go pay Louisville. You know, and that's just, we'd love to have them here, but we just don't have the space. And then even the chamber dinner, right? Where was the chamber dinner this year? It was in Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette Lionsgate.
It's terrible. We want that to be here, you know? So these are the types of spaces that we're hoping to create on the third floor. Functional, right?
How many people could fit in that big space would have felt it?
Between 2 and 3, probably upper 2s, 2 and 300. We've always kind of used 260 as the threshold, knowing that, I mean, now I think the most we've packed into that community room is 70, and that was uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, like we had people packed in there. I think 300 is a good number. The other thing that you guys might find, well, we get weddings in our parks all the time. I mean, all the time. People get married in Purple Park, like it's cool. And then same thing with like right behind Town Hall in Grasso Park. So to be able to have another venue for people to get married, and it sounds funny, but people are dying to get married in Boulder County. And people are dying to get married and take pictures with the flat irons in the background. And those are things that like we take for granted because we see them every day. But people will actually pay you money to rent space if you've got the mountains in the background just for their photos. It's pretty wild. So something else that we talked a lot about is creating art spaces.
Immediately when I saw this picture, because in Arbor Day we do that art contest. So
this would be it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it
And then we've talked about like trading art exhibits with other jurisdictions. We've talked about trying to engage the schools. We've talked about, you know, the historic commission, you know, having some kind of rotating display where you can look at all the old photos from the town of Superior, the Arbor Day stuff, all that. And I think too, you know, the idea of having these open spaces, you know, some kind of art-centered event where we're, you know, we're trying to bring people into town and find a little bit of inspiration. And a lot of that can be done real easily, you know, with lighting and recessed walls and us creating just the kind of cool opportunity. And the big baller brand hanging out. Kevin's in there somewhere, probably. Kevin might be hooping it up, getting a set of screen.
I really like the big windows.
Yeah, I think that if there's any big selling point, it's probably the windows on all 3 floors. And again, just that feel of, you know, we spend a lot of time looking at different gym spaces in like really urban settings, DC, New York, where you're walking down, you know, literally a city downtown, and you see the big open windows and people are working out, and it's active and it's bright and it feels healthy. Those are all images that we really want to portray when you come visit the town. And then, let me back this up a little bit. So something that we've heard, and I totally apologize, guys, the setting on the screen is a little bit off. For those of you that have been into the locker rooms that are over there now, they're not great, right? They're just basic, couple shower stalls. And something that we've heard consistently time and time again is if people are going to use this facility, you need to be able to have really quality locker rooms. And the image here doesn't do it any justice because of the screen setting. But our thought is creating, nice wood floors, nice countertop space, nice wood, wood aesthetics. So, there you go. So, I'm going to show this to the board Monday night. And then our plan is by June 19th to have a community engagement meeting. And I think what our spin or our goals that we're going to achieve on the 19th is as quickly as possible, we need to start figuring out if people will be willing to self-impose a tax in town to build it. And we're talking about what's called a mill rate, which is how you calculate property tax, a 1.5 mill increase. And on a $500,000 home, that's about 50 some bucks a year, right? And then when we're talking about in terms of a sales tax, we're either talking about 0.25%, so 25 cents on every $100 that's spent in town, or maybe a little higher, maybe we go 0.35. And then you would collect that money and it would go to help offset the cost of the facility and then your membership dues. So, and you guys, we took your lists and tried as much as possible to incorporate in areas that worked and didn't work. Some stuff I think we hit a home run. Some stuff I think still needs a little bit of tweaking. Some stuff we just had to eliminate altogether because it just doesn't work with the building. But it's now on us over the next several months to try to just feel where people are at. And then by November, if the board feels like it's appropriate, we'll ask the voters to weigh in on it. So, any big picture thoughts or ideas? What do you guys think about this whole idea of imposing a new tax to pay for something like that? I think it's
Would it go back down once they lose pay for it?
It's a good point, and I don't think we've decided yet, right? You can do these, so we have an open space tax in town. I don't know if you guys know that, but any purchase that's made in town, a tiny percentage of that rolls back to us. And it can be used for things like buying open space, and that tax is in perpetuity, goes on forever. There's no sunset, which is a term you use when a tax will end. We could create this tax and in 20 years say the tax will go away. Likely, I think that it would probably not sunset. But I don't know, that call will be up to our finance department. That's an awesome question, because that psychologically as a voter, some people say, well, I'm more likely to vote for it if I know it's not a forever thing. It's just a for now thing. And what's interesting is if you guys think about our open space tax, there's not a lot of open space left to buy in Superior. We've bought everything that we can. So now we've got this tax that we're collecting forever, and it's likely that we won't have anything to spend it on, which means we could potentially go back to the voters and say, hey, should we use this for something different? Or should we do a better job maintaining our open spaces? Or, the list goes on. So.
One thing I would say is that today some of us were at the Metro Mayor's meeting and stuff, so I'm sure you've heard all about it from our mayor, but they're considering already raising the sales tax. So I feel like if that passes, if that goes through, increasing ours on top of that might frustrate some citizens, but that's when you would probably want to do the other kind of.
Yeah, you're totally right. Okay. There's There is and I don't know, did you guys talk about transportation tax at all today?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Instead
That's
of
it's a big deal. And you guys will probably hear this if you haven't already, is, you know, for Parks and Rec dorks like me, we're in this like quality of life, community building through stuff like this. Everything should go towards this, right? Like we want all the money to go to this. But on the flip side, roads, infrastructure, I mean, we all hate traffic, you know, and the only way you can pay for improved highways in Colorado is through a tax. So we have discussed the fact that if the state wants to do that, you know, the road improvement tax, it would be more difficult for us to get this passed as well. So I didn't do these slides any justice, but this is what the exterior of the building would look like. So this is the big square opening now. So you would see we would just kind of fill it in, roll up doors on the bottom, bright light, kind of on the basketball court, roll up doors, and decking on the top.
Does the deck add to the capacity of the community space?
Deck does add to the capacity of the community space, so it's usable. And with that, I don't know the exact numbers. We might even have them on the. No, but this gives us the square footage. But you can see, I mean, this is a pretty good size. That's become a pretty big room.
1,300 square feet in the balcony, is that what it says?
Yep.
So it's like 2 of those rooms.
Yep, 2 of those rooms. That's a big space, and we've kind of envisioned too, like having the outdoor heaters. So it's an indoor-outdoor even in the wintertime. So. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? Any other?
Wait, so it's going like literally in between like one side of the sports stable and then the other side of the sports stable, like directly in the, it's like in that little part.
Here, we're gonna do a quick.
Would there be a separate entry that you would like swipe your membership card at?
Yep. Sorry, I actually can't see what you're typing over there.
Oh, when's the hotel gonna be done?
Probably later this year.
Okay.
They just installed a swimming pool over there.
It's really
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they building by the horizon?
They are.
Is that what you guys-
No, so there is a Westin Hotel being built right here across from Old Chicago's.
Oh, yeah.
See that right there?
Oh.
That's a Westin Hotel. It's called the Westin Element.
Okay.
And they just put a swimming pool in there.
I always turn it back there,
Oh.
right here, so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's like literally right in the middle
That's
of
it.
that.
That's
That's not even that bad. I thought it like went, for some reason in my head, I thought it went like across the street into that
Nope.
park. That parking lot is the square.
Yeah.
Okay.
This right here,
Now I'm not confused.
this right here is our town square. It's super hard to envision it now, but trust me, if you look at it, you know, for like every day of your life for the last 6 years, you're like, oh, I can see it. And then to answer your question, down on Colton Road by Bell Flatirons, probably another hotel.
What?
Yeah, so we've been.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, and then residential. I'm just gonna bring you guys like all.
I didn't know what that was. Wait, so like behind Chick-fil-A kind of?
No, it's,
Also,
okay, so it's like, yeah, it's across the street, so it's like,
Oh, do you know what they're building behind Chick-fil-A? Because they're doing construction right.
I don't because it's in Greenfield.
Okay.
But, all right, so real quick before we go look at like hotels. We should probably add hotels. So the biggest issue with building right here,
is that it cuts
Focus in, everybody.
literally direct.
right? So this goes away, which is huge, and then, so they already have their HVAC, right, which is their heating and their air system, like right here. So before we even get started, we have to get that, with a crane onto the roof and reconfigure all the airflow in the building, right? That's why it costs like $19 million. And then you're gonna start to drop things in. Like I mean, there's some challenges with I'm not gonna lie, there's challenges with building.
Yeah, where are people gonna enter? Because if you're building it right where both of the entrances are,
so we will. Alright,
I'm like so stressed out now that I don't know where everything is.
You and me both, sister. Okay. Alright, so
now I see it.
this is the existing Impact Gym. We would create a whole new entryway. So there would be a hockey sports entry. It's there now, over by the Floyd Barber. And then there would be this one. But yes, we're literally taking a puzzle piece and dropping it in the open puzzle. Alright. And then really quick. So, and if there's any other awesome Google Map users in this room, because I know you guys all love looking at maps like we do, they finally have updated aerials, which is nice. All right, so this right here is going to be, it actually doesn't look like this anymore because there's roads in there. So there will probably be a hotel on this site.
Do you know what hotel yet?
I don't. And then residential.
Another like Flatiron, like more building onto Horizons?
No, separate development, like like standalone, like the units that are built over here.
Oh, okay. I thought it was gonna be like a whole new like. Okay, it's fine.
Nope.
Will that be in Superior? Because I know
that
like
is in Superior.
Like which one of those buildings are in Broomfield? Because like it's kind of confusing to me.
All right, so this is what. Here's the crazy thing, and actually.
It's like.
Hey, we're getting into it now. So I'm showing you.
That's so much fun.
Caps lock is on.
You know what? It all works. So this will probably kind of freak some of you out because the Boulder County Assessor knows an insane about everybody's house, right? And every property in town. That's kind of this whole. So you can actually go. So this is called the Boulder County Assessor's website. Let's do an aerial.
Blend, right?
No.
Because it doesn't have your.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh.
See this little pink line that runs right down the middle of the street?
The what line? The pink.
See it right there?
Yeah. Oh wait, no way.
If you are on this side of the street, here in Broomfield, we don't touch it. My guys don't go maintain it. We don't turn the water on over there. I don't care if their flowers are ugly. Okay? This side of the street, all us. We'll plow it, we maintain it, your tax dollars go to water it, the flowers are gonna look perfect.
So like.
So, and what's interesting is you can look, even right now, see how there's already these little lines that are plotted in there? You can just click on one.
Oh no.
Property owner. And it's going to tell us currently who owns the property, what it's zoned for, how much it was purchased for, what the taxes are, and everything. So if you guys are ever...
How do you snowplow if it's on that side of the street? Like, how do you turn around?
We have to lift our blades. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because if I hit a fire hydrant in Broomfield, like it's on me to fix it. And we have these easement or maintenance types agreements where it's like, once we hit it, we have to lift the plow, and literally all we do is turn around. And we expect the same. Because believe it or not, like you'll get jurisdictions where it's like, think of the DDI, like, or the diverging diamond. If all of a sudden Louisville pushed all that snow onto our side of the property, our roads deteriorate quicker, we have to pay to remove it, and it screws up our traffic. So believe it or not, a whole part of what we do in Parks and Rec is we've got these little easements and tracks everywhere where we can and can't do maintenance. So,
Well, because every time in the snow, I would, like, going across the bridge to Monarch, you literally see
Yep.
the snowplow just, because you guys were always, like, on top of it. And
Yep.
every time I'd have to drive into the snow to get into Louisville, you would just turn around and you would see the tires turn around and go back.
yeah. And it is, I get it. If you're part of the public, you're like, that guy's an idiot. What's he doing? Like, keep the plow
Well, no,
down.
like, I know
Yeah.
where the town line is, so I was like, okay, cool.
So here, yeah. So let's see if it'll tell us who owns the hotel sites yet. No. So in each one of these are little private properties.
That's funny.
All right, so let's go check out 88. Since
Are
we're
they
not-
gonna keep that little lake there next to hotels?
This one?
That's a big
No,
lake.
the right.
This one. So here's what's crazy. That little corner is Broomfield. Right? So you want to talk about getting convoluted. We have to do a legal agreement because we're going to have water and stormwater. Like let's say it downpours on that hotel. The hotel water legally has to like move somewhere else. We're going to have to take water that generates in town and get it into Broomfield. And then it's Broomfield's problem. And that's a big deal. So we have to do legal agreements and it's awesome.
And you clicked on it and it said you cannot find because it's not part of Boulder County, right?
Yeah. So you can see, check out 88.
Yeah.
Right?
That's, yeah.
So you can see, we will probably plow and stop, maybe right there. And then my guess is that we turn around in the old storage tech. And technically, it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
But because we want to make sure, I mean, and if you guys ever watch, our board talks about this all the time, is getting you guys safely to Monarch High School is like #1 priority. Yeah, you can totally see, so this pink line indicates the town border. And then even over here in Town Center, like we can click on any one of these individual, right? There's a picture of it.
One of the brand new.
We're gonna
Yeah.
scroll down. Look at that, that's who owns it, right?
That's so pretty.
So anytime you do any kind of purchasing of property in Boulder County, that's public record. So technically, any document that Kevin and I work on is a public document. It's crazy if you think about it, but it's all part of government transparency. All right, any other fun, scary facts you guys want to see?
So is there absolutely nowhere in the town of Superior that they could put this piece of land instead of in that Times Square?
Nope, there is. We have talked about. Take our handy map.
Because if you guys did it in a bigger piece of land, do you guys think you would expand it more than
Yep.
just that?
Yeah, we actually came up with a plan. So this is Colton, right? Colton and McCaslin. We call this the Town 15. Used to be owned by Richmond. So if we scroll down, it's going to tell us Town Superior owns it. We came up with a concept earlier this year, and actually started last year, to do a $40 million facility on that property. And that's right, that's the trade-off. You do it bigger, you get everything you want, but it costs more. And things like sunsetting a tax or paying a higher tax, those things all come into play. We've also talked about, maybe you do the community center here and like we put in ball fields. But we also need to be cognizant of trying not to negatively impact these people that purchase homes right here. Yep.
That's by the
Hey.
trailhead.
Patrick, just real quick before you move on from
Sure.
that one. The existing community center, just in reference, how would it fit into that 15 acres?
We wouldn't even.
It would be tiny, right?
It's tiny. This
Yeah.
is massive.
Yeah.
15 acres is a lot of room. Here, let's see. Let me see if I've got a quick picture to show you guys.
But are you guys pretty dead set on the location by the sports stable?
The board has weighed in and said that that's their preferred location.
I prefer please closer.
No, I've got it down, I've got it.
You're not even gonna live there. Calm down.
Anyway, to Kevin's point, it's barely the corner of that 15 acres. You'd be able to fit 3 more baseball fields in there and a soccer field. So. Okay, so June 19th in this room is when we'll have our next community meeting. And we'll start to know pretty quick whether we think people are going to pay for this thing or not.
What does June 19th look like for a citizen? They come into this room and what happens?
So our thought is, I think we're kind of done talking about the design. And I think that that's going to be hard for people to wrap their heads around. So I think what we're going to do is start engaging people. I'll probably do the same presentation just to give them a bit of background. Probably not as thorough. But I think we're going to do an exercise of willingness to pay, right? You can do that a couple of different ways. We're thinking of having renderings around the room and either doing like the green sticker and the red sticker, or I actually think I'm going to try to find like Monopoly money and give people $100 and say, paint this picture. This is your money. This is your discretionary money from your paycheck. What portions of the facility would you pay for? Which ones would you not pay for, or would you pay for none of them? And I think what we're going to try to do pretty early is gauge people's willingness to dedicate their money to pay for it. It's not going to be free, and it is going to have membership fees to go with it. And that it's critical feedback. I think for some people, they're going to probably want to criticize the design, which is fine. But we're at the stage that this kind of is what it is, you know. You guys have worked on it, ProStack's worked on it. In some form or fashion, we've actually been talking about a community center for almost 20 years, which is kind of hard to wrap the head around. And then we're going to do a phone survey. We hired a professional firm to do a phone survey. Actually, had to pay them $25,000 to do it. And what their job is to collect like really, really, really specific data from the taxpayer. I mean, literally, like, they have to get responses from 400 registered voters in town. And we'll probably just ask them, do you support this tax increase, or no tax increase? And as we collect that kind of information from the community meetings and the phone survey, at some point this summer, the board's going to have to say, we want to spend more money and put it on a ballot, the vote in November, or we're done. We're just not going to do it. So we call those touch points. Anytime we can get a touch or a communication with the public, we need to start figuring out if people actually want to pay for this, or if this is just a cute idea and nobody wants to pay for it. And I think we'll know. I think we'll know probably by midsummer.
So if this does go to plan and everything goes as you guys wish, when would this be likely to be installed?
Construction would start next year. Yeah. And it's interesting you bring up a good point. So something else that we've learned, so staff actually can't necessarily be for or against it. We have to be neutral to it. And Kevin can attest to this. It's kind of this weird battle, right? Because we have to work on putting all this stuff together, and you want to believe in the project, but at the same time, I don't live here. I live out by Brighton. So our job is to do the best job of just presenting facts, right? And trying to be honest and objective and letting it be up to the voter. So it's kind of a weird position to be in. And actually, after a date in August when we submit the question to the county, like we actually can't even really do much more with it. We can't advocate for it. I can't advocate against it. We can just say, this is what it is. This is how much it's gonna cost. This is the impact to you. Do you like it? Do you not like it? So.
And definitely remember that this is in the voters' hands.
Yep.
And the staff and the board are trying to do the very best to get all the information to you guys.
Yeah. And
If
then
you're- if
like
you're
there,
18.
and there's a lot of different, you know, one thing that we see in government all the time is people think that we want to sway things one way or the other. And honestly, we do as much as humanly possible to stay completely neutral. Our job is to serve the town board who serves the residents. That's what staff's role is. And we drive our teams to do that as best as we possibly can, with as much honesty and integrity as we can. So, any other questions? Cool. You're awesome.
Big thank you to Mr. Hamill for coming.
Awesome. So how was Day with the Mayor?
It's good.
Who all went?
Jack.
Yeah? Any like super fun highlights? What was the big? It's a good week to be down there. This is a good time to be down there with the governor race kicking up and stuff. What was the big takeaway?
I mean, the meeting itself was really good. We also toured the Capitol, which was cool too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Had you guys seen that before? I don't know if you guys saw, they just discovered a ton of artwork that they thought they had lost in the basement of the Capitol. And I mean, worth millions of dollars, like paintings that they thought like it just disappeared, like somebody was hiding behind a shelf, and they were like, wow, there's like $1 million worth of artwork down there. Cool. Awesome. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you for coming out.
All right. Cool. You guys come on around the table.
Okay,
Let's go back.
okay, yeah, so we're gonna talk about the Superior Elementary people that came in. For those of you
Hey,
that
so
missed it.
quick time out. So we do have 15 minutes left, and we got about 5 or 6 items. So if we can just focus for 15 and knock it out, that'd be awesome. Let's
Okay.
do it.
So quickly, so people came from Superior Elementary, you guys, just to fill you in. They want us to do like a once a month kind of babysitting thing for an hour, hour and a half during their PTA meetings. Obviously, this is kind of out of the seniors' hands because we're not going to be here to do it, so we can't like really tell you guys to do it or not. I think you guys should. I know that it's successful at Fireside Elementary with Puentes for Spanish Honor Society of Honor. Thank you. But yeah, I just think like once a month isn't that bad for like an hour, and it won't be hard to like have 2 or 3 of you guys watch kids.
6:30 to 8 would be an hour and a half.
Yeah, do you guys think that's something you'd be interested in?
Discussion.
Great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea.
Yep.
And it's like an easy thing to do too, and especially for like people who need like NHS hours or things like
Yeah.
that usually counts.
So think real quick. This is what I want you guys to think about. Tuesday nights during the school year, 6:30 to 8. Think about practices. Think about hobbies, clubs. Is that a time that we can get, how many, 1 to 2? We have to have 2 people just for safety. We don't never want just one person there. So at least 2 people from this council once a month. That space. Can we do it?
Yeah.
You guys would be committed to that. And what we can do is say, hey, yes, we'll commit to this year. And then with an idea of the next council can say they can re-up or not re-up.
Cool.
Okay, I'll call them back and let them know we're in.
Awesome. Okay, and then next up is Battle of the Bands. So a couple weeks ago, we had a meeting at Starbucks for the Battle of the Bands committee, and we got a lot done on it. I don't have my meeting notes with me, but we do have our set date, which is
August.
the 4th. And then we're gonna have video submissions from each group, and those have to be submitted by like midnight on July 21st, I think is what we said.
4 to 9 p.m. That includes kind of setup and breakdown time.
Yeah, and it will be at
4 to 9. Oh, so it'd be like a 5 to 8, 5 to 8:30.
yeah, and we're
4:30,
having it at El Dorado. Aston was working on getting the permits and everything for that, and he did. So yeah, do you guys have any questions on that? I mean, we can definitely send out more information too.
Are we gonna do promotion at maybe at the park this week?
Okay, so I've been, I keep spacing it, but I'm supposed to call the HOA guy, and I will tomorrow. Do you think I can do that tomorrow? Okay, cool. I'll talk to the HOA guy.
And then just let us know if we should hand out stuff.
Maybe send him a quick email tonight and say, can I give you a call tomorrow?
Okay,
Yeah.
I just don't know how to bring it up. Okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Christmas
If you need any more help, let me know.
Okay. Are we good?
Yeah, any other questions about Battle of the Bands?
I did an event at El Dorado 2 weeks ago. They said no third parties are allowed to use the AV system.
Correct.
So I had to bring in my own, so.
Yeah.
So the,
Global Sound
Global Sound
Studios is gonna help us
yeah.
out with that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Jordan.
Okay, and then, any other comments, questions,
Oh,
concerns?
if we do like a promotion at the movie, we should make sure we write like Global Sound Studios on it, just to like really promote them.
Yeah.
Would we hand out flyers there?
That's one of the things we're gonna
Yeah,
ask and
okay.
see.
Alright.
Yeah, okay,
Just let us know.
yeah, would anyone, like, do you guys think we could pass out flyers at the movie night? Just like before it starts, hand it out to some families? Cool, okay, we should get those.
Yeah, we can get those, well, I'll talk to Katie tomorrow.
Is she back in town?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
she's back in town.
Well,
Yeah, even if it's just the thing that you designed, we can probably grab that and
yeah,
talk to her somehow. We'll get that done tomorrow.
okay. What else am I missing?
For Battle of the Bands, I think we're good. That team did, just so you guys know, the team, the subcommittee that's going after that is on top of it.
And we'll send out more information, especially for like signing up to help coordinate some things like passing out flyers and everything. Next up, kickball. We also met at Starbucks like separately for that, the committee, and we got a lot done on that too. We're gonna have, our main thing is advertising for that. We just need to get the word out, because if people know that it's a thing, people will sign up for it, because it's just like a family-friendly thing. Oh, cool. Okay. So we have our prizes and everything from past events like Arbor Day that we just had to cancel. So we have a total of $135 in Sweet Cow gift cards. And so we said that.
A lot of ice cream.
Yeah. So we were thinking of splitting it up into like first and second into like 75 and 60. And then marketing it as like, there's gonna be a sweet prize, but just like not telling them the Sweet Cow right off the bat. And
Or we
so,
could say there's a moo prize.
yeah. So we want to do this upcoming movie night for the Battle of the Bands advertising, but then we want to do the next one. Wait, no,
We won't do-
opposite. We want to do kickball for this, don't we? Yeah, never mind. Switch that.
Yeah.
We want to do the kickball advertising this movie night, not Battle of the Bands. Battle of the Bands advertising will be at the next one.
What if we made a flyer vote?
Yeah, we can, that's right.
Just like.
Yeah.
Or like we split
It might
the
be,
sign.
that's right, it might be a cool idea to do a split flyer.
And project it.
We could do a slide too, yeah. We can have that ready too.
So they can project it before the movie starts.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll try to do both. And then we want to do like flyers at the pool, in the sports stable, things like that. Put it in the 0027. So we reserved the fields for June 30th, July 1st to have like the prelims those 2 days, depending on how many teams sign up, and then having the championship game July 4th at the big event. Last day to register June 25th, so we need to get advertising out there soon. We're gonna hire refs most likely. There's like a website Kevin knows that you can hire them.
Hire refs for like, is it just a kickball website or like?
It's
It's like
called Rent a
all-
Ref. And you can get refs for all kinds of.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were really intense,
Yeah.
like really professional.
There you go.
Yeah, jeez. Okay.
Yeah, so obviously we're gonna have to have like a lot of us sign up to work that. I can send out information about that too.
Yeah, I think just be ready. Have those dates in mind. The end of June and August 4th because we'll need as many hands on deck as possible, knowing that we're also working the 4th of July, the event. So but it kind of, it works out. So just try to keep those open as best as you can. I know that you guys are all traveling and doing stuff, but we'll need a lot of people.
Make sure you check the notifications in the group me the next few weeks.
Is everybody getting group me, by the way? Texts? Yes, yes, yes? Okay. There's a little heart button on the side, just to humor me. Just every so often, just click the little heart button. Let me know you're still alive.
Okay, yeah, and then we want to have teams dress up together, like coordinate outfits. We could consider having like a best dress prize, split up these more, just so it's like first, second, best dressed. But then it might get down to too small.
We won't have enough. That's too small of a prize.
Okay.
Because the teams are 15 people.
We could take away from the second place prize, because that's like a very big prize for second place.
Yeah. I mean, next meeting, let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sweet.
cool. That's all we have in our notes from that meeting.
Any questions on that?
So next up, we're going to talk about National Trails Day. I know I worked the second shift. Who worked the first shift? How did it go?
It went pretty well. There were a couple things.
Nobody there at all, because they were all watching the presentation. So
That's one thing is like there were plenty of kids there, and once the presentation ended, they all came over.
Yeah.
But it was lined up so that for most of the time we were there, except for like the last 15 minutes, the presentation was going on. And so we missed everyone.
Yeah, we had a snake presentation during ours.
Yeah.
So.
So go ahead, Sarah.
Could we get like a banner? Because our tent was very empty and it wasn't decorated well, and I feel
We
like,
do have a banner.
yeah.
And maybe if we also do like stickers that they can put on the pots instead of just, because the markers worked fine, but I feel like if we had something else, it would make it even better.
Yeah, and I just like as a little thing, towards the end I turned on kids' music on my phone and they loved it. Like I put on Moana and like so many kids came up to me. They're like, "Is this Moana?" It's like, "Yeah, do you like it?" They're like, "Yes." Like it was cute, but they like
So banner.
So yeah, if we bring like an
more
actual speaker to play music, they'll
music.
attract. Yeah.
Now, do you guys think that we should be there just for a certain time, or do you think we should be there still for the whole time, just in case there is a kid that doesn't like snakes or owls?
I think we almost have to be there for the whole time, because otherwise there's only like a 15 half an hour gap between the presentations, so
Right.
it'd be hard to set everything up just for that amount of time.
Cool.
But maybe just like not needing 3 people there the whole time, because
So we're
maybe
okay
2 for
with
one.
2?
Yeah.
Good feedback, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, anything else about National Trails Day? Cool. Next up, Metro Mayor's meeting. So that was today. So those of us who went have had a pretty long SYLC day, starting at 6:30 at the bus stop, getting back at 2:30.
6:42 for.
And then here. So, yeah, so it's been a long day, but it's been a good day. We saw a lot. We started off by going down on the RTD, down to the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, where there were about like 30 mayors or something. They were having their meeting. And it was cool to be able to like sit in and listen. I don't know who has gone before in the past, like last year or anything, but it's pretty interesting. We got to hear about like just the biggest issues like transportation and like things that are going on with that. And then after that, we went to brunch.
You guys didn't present for
yeah, we went to brunch, so you guys missed the delectable egg, which was really good. And then we did a tour of the Capitol, which was awesome too. Apparently, like in today's money, they spent like $100 million on it. So it's a pretty nice building on the inside.
Did you guys get to go in the very top?
Yeah, well, like we went to the top.
Yeah.
But like
the
not
dome.
top. Yeah, we went to the
Okay.
dome. You know how it
I had
has
to
like the
think about
gold.
it.
Yeah, we were able to like go up there and like look out and like stand on the balcony. Cool.
And let me just say, only, gosh, I don't know, point something percent of kids get to do stuff like this. So it's a really special thing that the mayor does for this group, and he wants to keep doing it every year. I mean, just think about it. I mean, those people that got to go got to the potential to meet all the mayors of Denver Metro. I mean, who gets to be in that meeting, right? And get to hang out with our mayor. A lot of people don't get access to their mayor at all. Ask questions, get feedback, all that stuff. So we're very privileged, very lucky to have that opportunity. And next year, you know, I mean, we still have to limit it to about 10 people because of the cost, but if you can get in on it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the mayor is always super excited about it, and he brought his son this year too. I know he brought both of them last year, but it was cool to just like hang out with them, get to know them better. Oh, okay. Anything else to add for those of you like who were there? No? Cool. Okay. New business? Do you have any new business?
The only new business that we have is really the August recruiting party. We're going to be losing 10 people from our council this year. Yeah. And so we need to get on it as far as getting new people on. Colin, the mayor's son, would be a perfect, person to be coming on. So all the way from 8th grade, to seniors. I mean, even if the senior just wants to finish out 1 year here, they can do that. So be thinking about people that you think might be good for this council. And probably next meeting we'll be doing a lot to start planning our big party to invite people. So that's coming up as well. So yeah, be thinking about that.
Yeah, try to get your friends to do it because it'll be fun for you to be able to hang out with them like while you're at volunteer events, Like you guys are all so tight, right? So like that makes it fun. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our next meeting, it won't be on the first Wednesday of the month because that'll be July 4th week. So we usually put it the last week of June 27th.
That's my
Now,
birthday, so I will be bringing mug cakes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And my birthday's the day after.
Yay!
All right. And so what I needed to know tonight, though, is June 27th. I heard that a lot of people may be out that week. How many people are out the week of June 27th?
Which is the day,
Well, Wednesday the 27th. Wednesday the 27th. Let me know that ASAP. It looks like we're still going to have enough people, and so I think we'll be okay. But if there was going to be a huge crowd, I was going to say, maybe we just need to call a timeout on that. So, okay, cool. So June 27th, remember that. I'll send out reminders. Kendall will send out reminders.
Your certificate. Did you get that?
Okay, so last night JD and I went to the annual meeting
for Superior Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, so it was at Lionsgate in Lafayette, and we were nominated for an award as the best service group of the year.
Yeah.
Precious Child won. They deserve it. They're an amazing group. We still got a certificate of appreciation for it. But it was really cool. They were trying to get us involved, and they were super welcoming when we were there. Everyone, honestly, in this town does appreciate what we do. When I was at National Trails Day, so many parents were coming up to me being like, "This is so awesome of you guys," that kind of thing. So I think it's just, cool that they took the time to, think of us and, include us in that to give us a little love.
You guys are really a great group. You should be very proud of the work that you do. And it's little, but it makes a big difference. It's not like we're out every 40 hours a week, but what you guys do makes a difference.
Question, is the seniors' last meeting in August? That works.
Yeah. Yeah. And we probably need to be thinking about a little, whatever social going away hurrah.
Last year we did the Rockies, right?
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah. So be thinking about that a little bit too.
It's 6 hours.
We won, right?
Cool. Okay, we won.
We did. We have
had 10 something hours of SYLC today.
If you count last night too.
Oh yeah, no, JD and I have had 13 or something, 12 or 13.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe you guys do a lot. All
Like
right.
a part-time work week, I don't know.
We'll start taking up the
Just one time,
tax
just one time, it's
to
okay.
pay you guys. All right.
Okay.
You
Do
have
we
to-
need to-
You have to
okay.
officially adjourn it, or we can't
Meeting
leave.
adjourned, but we need to put away the table.
We do. And actually, we actually need a first and a second, and then we vote, and then, but maybe someday
Does
we'll learn
anyone
Robert's rules.
like not want to adjourn?
Yeah, just help us clean up. We'll see you next time.
Stop. I know what you're doing.
JD, you can follow this T-Post account.
I was gonna ask if you're serious, but I know you are.
I've only had like 2 posts in the last.
Was it?
Do you just like do it places?
Yeah, I want to work.
Wait, I want to see.
I would have catered for them like with a tuba slide or
Turn these off.
Which is okay, that's who you are.
I'm working hard on it.
Red light for the camera on.
Oh, maybe.
Hey Kevin. Hey Kevin. Which
I'll
one's
push some
on and which one's off for the mic?
Red is off. Right over here. In these little holes.
Like enjoy cooking together, like to like ask me I like your picture. I got I'm curious. It has less and he's like, oh yeah. It's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No, my dad did. Like, I told he wants to get coffee. People like just carrying on. No, I'm making it. Oh, my goodness, it's tennis camp. No, I won't touch it. I'll
Hey, Battle fans of the state, you know, give them some details and we'll work it on. And that's it. No, I put the anime one. So yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 bullet points, and if you guys wanna, I mean, again, the cool thing is, it's gonna be on there every month. And so if you guys wanted to do the same thing, just to get, you know, battle bands, even August recruiting party coming up, even though we don't have a date.
Yeah.
We can pick a date. Okay. Perfect. All right. The only thing about that one is that it was due yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So
Good job.
you guys, yeah, can you go back? Hey, I need your email.
Oh, yeah. Let's do, so it's gonna be almost the same as the last one. So lowercase j, d, inge, I-N-G-E, 01, then it's just at gmail.com.
Or could you transfer it over?
No.
You just made a new one with the zero?
Yeah. Yep.
You guys play HQ? Or have you played HQ? Oh, no. But, so it's like a trivia game. It goes like usually twice a day. It's like a super big competition thing in my house just because like we all love it. My mom just won, but she won more than I won.